Hello and welcome to today's webinar, How to Double Your Income in the Next 12 Months. We're so excited you are here. To get the most from today's webinar, we want you to take really good notes. And we want you...
Hang on. I'm having a tech problem. Hang on.
No problem.
Oh, I see why. We're having a tech problem. We're fixing it. It will fix just in a second. Let's see. Bada bing, we're good.
Yay, bada bing. So we want you to take really good notes, and we want you to use that. Feel free to use that Q&A panel there to ask any questions you might have. We are going to take those all at the end, so don't stress if you don't see your questions or hear your questions come up initially. If you want to reach us at any time after today's webinar, you can reach us on all social media channels at Darryl Speaks. Darryl is the author of 3 books, all published by McGraw-Hill Publishers. That first one you see there, How to Become a Power Agent in Real Estate, is actually one of the best-selling books to real estate agents on Amazon. Darryl was named by Risk Media Magazine as one of the top real estate news makers in 2021 in the Big-Hearted and Brave category.
Am I going to get one this year?
I hope so. We got a streak going for the last couple of years. Yeah. He is also the recipient of the coveted CSP designation by the National Speakers Association, which is only given to less than 2% of speakers worldwide. On that note, Darryl Davis, take it away.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. Couple of more things I want to cover before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the class today. I want to address, is this question that some people have, especially if this is your first time coming to one of our training sessions, is this webinar a sales pitch? It absolutely is not, but just for the point to have some clarity so you understand what this is every week, because this is a weekly thing. It's part of our ongoing weekly training with our power agents. So some of you on this call are our students, our power agents. And some of you are not. We call you guests, and we're really excited and glad that the guests are here. But the guests, the reason why I wanted to clarify that up front is because from time to time, I'll be having a sidebar conversation to our power agents because this is their training, their weekly training. But regardless, I don't want you to, I'm going to tell you, you are going to get so much value, especially out of this, one of my favorite training sessions to do because what we're going to cover. Just real quick for the guests so they understand what a power agent is. It's part of our coaching program. We locked in the price at $47 because of the pandemic for people to help support them during the way. If you're a guest, you can actually get full access to the program for just $5 and you get complete access to everything. You cancel any time. And actually, if you decide to kick the tires at the end of this webinar for the $5, you get some really incredible bonuses, and you get to keep these bonuses. The bonuses are valued almost $2,000, and so everything you see on the screen, which is a plethora of stuff, is $5 you get to keep. So it's really, we're trying to really entice you, as you can tell. But I will point out one of the really valuable things that by itself is probably worth you checking it out are those 2 things, the 3-part business plan in the 2022 predictions. The predictions that we write are for you to use with buyers and sellers that are on the fence. Should I wait for the market to come down or should I wait for whatever? And so that's how we write our predictions to use as an objection handling tool for you. All right, let me talk to the power agents for a second, and then we're going to get into the techniques. As I was just saying, power agents, the 2022 predictions is written as an objection handling tool for you. You can customize it. So there's a place at the end of the guide where you can put in your contact information. And on the bottom of every page, you can customize it too. So that way it kind of looks like you wrote it. So whoops, there's that. Let me go back. The second thing, power agents, where you'll find that is if you go to the classroom of the Power Program website, you will see all the categories of real estate. And that buyer tab is where we have that. So that's where you will find it. And everything's alphabetical. So you'll see it's e-guide. So the predictions, we call it as an e-guide. So scroll down to the E area, and that's where you'll find this year's predictions. Second announcement, and then we'll get into this. I got to tell you, I said this last week power agents, but I'm going to show you just some of the comments in the Facebook group from fellow power agents. I just closed on a property that was a referral from a fellow power agent. Woohoo, the directory works. That's from Catherine. Here's another one. This was all like in a month time frame. From Ann, she said, just want to let everyone know that because I'm listed in the directory, I received this lead from an agent in Colorado trying to put it together, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, bottom line is the deal came together. They're very excited. I think one last one. Carol Brown, I would like to thank Power Agent Regina for finding me in the directory and sending me a referral. I could not have dreamed a better scenario. Her buyer called, we emailed back and forth. They came in from out of town, made an offer one day, got accepted, cash transaction. So here's my point. Power agents, part of your plan for this year is you need to make sure that your directory is filled out. Now you'll see here on the screen, there's some people that actually didn't upload their photo and some did, right? So if you were looking to refer a business to an agent, would you go to an agent that didn't even take the time to fill out a directory? So make sure you update your directory. It's at the top they see that little button says update my profile. That's where you can do your photo, your description, the towns that you work, your contact information, your website. It's like a bonus of the power program for you, power agents. I know some of you are not paying attention because this is not a directory thing, right? This is a training program is why you become a power agent. The directory is a bonus, but people are making a ton of money. We're seeing about 5 deals a month just from this going back and forth. Okay, let's get into the content of today. I have so much. I'm going to talk fast, so I need you guys to hang in with me because we're going to cover a lot of content. So if this is your first time to my training sessions, they go one of two ways. I'll either cover a lot of content, but I don't go deep on anything, so I go through a bunch. Then there's some where I'll go deep on a specific topic. So, for example, if I'm doing the listing appointment, that's going deep on that. If we're calling FSBOs and expireds, I go deep on that. Today is not a deep day. Today is a wide day. I'm going to cover self-promotion, technology, prospecting. Now, let me give you a little history of what I'm going to share with you and the power of this. So I'm teeing this up for you because I want you to really get excited about this and be committed to the value. This whole thing that I'm going to share with you today started back in 1993. This is the picture of the very first group of power agents that I taught. And we just did an interview. That bottom third person from the left, that's Annette Mina. Anybody in the tri-state area, she's in the top 0.5% of all agents in the whole United States. She's a mega producer. Tony Danino at the top there. So anyway, a lot of these agents who went through that original class are not just top agents, they're actually mega producers. But during that class, those power agents they came in, they were averaging about 15 transactions a year. When they graduated, they more than doubled to 35 because of the success of that and the continued classes that I taught after that and all the years after that. I get a phone call from McGraw-Hill, that publisher. They said, will you write us a book? So I wrote this book, How to Become a Power Agent. Now, this book, I wrote it years and years ago. And the concept was the same where I took, and here's the power of what I'm trying to share with you, is the whole power agent philosophy and the program is about looking at the skill sets of real estate and working on it once a month. If you improve 10% a month, that's 120% in a year. That's the point that I'm trying to make. That is where part of the training that I do with our students is different from where else. So, for example, time management, prospecting, listing appointment, etc. So when we went online with the Power Program, we took real estate and broke it up into categories like buyers, farming, self-promotion, listing appointment. These are the skill sets of real estate, right? So if you need help on buyers, you go to the buyer tab. You need help in prospecting. Now, come back to this training because here's the point of all this. What I'm going to teach you is a skill set or a couple of strategies, in each one of these categories: time management, prospecting, listing appointment, servicing. So here's the point of this. When you get off of this webinar, what I want you to do is to look at these areas of real estate and say, okay, where do I need to improve on in time management? If I were going to just improve one or two things in that category, what is it? When it comes to prospecting, if there's one or two things that I'm going to have a breakthrough in my business, what are those? So what I want you to do is not get overwhelmed in your whole business. Just look at each category and say, where can I improve just 10% there? Because if you did 10% in each one of these areas that's on the screen right now, bada bing, that's 120% in a year. That's how you double your production. That's how my power agents do it. Now, I'm going to help you by giving you the strategies that I suggest, but it doesn't have to be mine as long as it's something. All right, time management. Here's the first thing I'm going to suggest. So we're getting into this. Take notes now. One of the things that's going to help you to have a breakthrough in time management is be clear on what you are committed to. Now, this may sound a little woo-woo, like, time management. I want a better email system, or I want a better CRM, or I want a better pen and a highlighter. Listen, time management is really about self-management, and how you manage yourself and your activities is based on your commitment. When you're really passionate about something, that tells you how to manage your time. You don't have to think about how to manage your time. Some of you have to get more committed or recommitted to your business. Like what are you waking up into in the morning? Are you waking up to the alarm clock? Or are you waking up to a commitment that empowers you to take action in your life? This is crucial. Let me share this personal story. I'm not going to get too much into the details of it. Some of my old students, you've heard me talk about me running a marathon, which is a little shocking. Like I don't look like a marathon runner. I'm not. As a matter of fact, I'm lucky that my idea of a good workout, I'm not into it, is to fill up the bathtub, pull the plug, and fight the current. So, I'm not a runner. The reason why I did it, though, was to raise money for leukemia. Now, because I know you don't believe me, I have a picture. This is a picture of me running the New York City Marathon and crossing the finish line, which is 6 hours and 41 minutes, which I know, I wish I could hear some of you, because some of you watching are runners and you're laughing right now because, yes, that's horrible time. You'll notice the workers are breaking down the barrier. The race was over hours ago. People in wheelchairs were better than me. They beat me. So, but the point was not to run a marathon. The point was for me to raise money for leukemia, the number one blood disease killer of children up to the age of 16. I'm very passionate about children, the thought of children dying because of leukemia, if I can make a difference. So I signed up to help. So here's the point. Every morning I woke up with the same little voice inside my head that said, I don't want to. I don't feel like this. This is uncomfortable. I want to snooze the alarm. The same little voice you have sometimes in your business? When it comes time to prospecting or call a FISBO, you're like, I don't want to. I don't feel like it. This is uncomfortable. It's the same thing. But the thing that got my ass, can I say that? The thing that got my butt out of bed was my commitment to saving children's lives. When you have a commitment that's bigger than the noise in your head that's holding you back, that's how you break through to your next level. That's how you create miracles. So my suggestion, tip number one, is get clear about what you're committed to this year and the next 12 months, something that empowers you. Now, let me talk to the guests for a second. Guests, if you decide to become a power agent, I want to highlight something. One of the gifts you're going to get today is this breakthrough business plan. It's over 40 some odd pages, and it actually breaks down your business plan into three categories. There's your business. There's now business, there's future business, financial freedom. So this, just going through the process of filling out that form, may also help you get more committed to your business. There's also, in that business plan, we break down, if you want to make X amount of dollars, how do you break it down into listings and sales and appointments? So we have the easy business plan too. So we got the 43 pages, but in the 43, there's a simple bada bing thing like that. Okay, so that's time management. Tip number one is to be clear about your commitment, what you're committed to. Now, the second thing I'm going to give you is you got to use charts. You got to use charts. Tony Danino, one of the power agents in that first class, I just interviewed him last week? It was last week. He's winding down his business now. He's had such an incredible run. He's got the grandkids now. He's doing good. Takes days off. He's loving life. During the interview, he actually said, Darryl, I got my dot board up. He still uses the dot board. I'll show you what that is in a second. Now, power agents, when you go into the classroom of the Power Program under time management, there's a lot of charts that you can use that empower you, help you stay focused. I love charts because it helps you stay focused. You don't have to, boot up something. It's right there. You hang it in your face. This is one of the things that we do for you guys is create the monthly calendar that says, hey, here's some suggestions on what to do, on this week or this day. If you only did the one thing, like I'll give you, for instance, let me zoom in on this. This is next week. And there's a suggestion. All right, review. I don't know if you can read it. It's really small. Review the 35 social media live ideas in the prospecting tab and commit to creating at least one video to share with your social media sphere. Then join the coaching group. Tomorrow's National Popcorn Day. Maybe deliver a tin of popcorn to your 5 best clients. Anyway, so we try and give you some ideas. And the other thing that we do too, I love the charts and forms. This is a weekly version, and my favorite about the weekly version is this. Now, I wanted to, so pay attention, because you can do this regardless of what I'm saying in Power. You know how sometimes we feel like we're doing a lot of work, and it's the end of the week, and we're like, what the hell did I do? Like, you don't feel like you did anything. You work, but it's like, where is the result? And it feels like eating potato chips, right? You're still hungry. It's empty calories is what they call it. So what I suggest that you do at the beginning of every week is say, you know what, come hella high, no matter what are the top 3 things I must do this week? These 3 things will help move my business. When I look back at the end of the week, I can point to those 3 and say, wow, this was a good week. No matter what, this was a good week because I got those 3 things done. So I suggest you do that. Power Agents, a little announcement too. We created a blank version of this too, because where you can fill in what's the one thing you want to do Monday, the one thing you want to do Tuesday. So we created that for you as well. Now, this is the dot board I was just talking about. This is one of my favorite tools. And any Power Agent who uses the dot board, they'll tell you they love the dot board. We have 2 versions of it. This one here has, it's a double wide because it has the next level. Where you clip out things. This is what I'm committed to. This is my next level. Here's what I want to accomplish. I want to travel. I'll get a new car. Blah, 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 blah. And then over to the other side, it says how many listings, how many sales. So listings sold did you get in each month? So let's say it's January, and after this training session, you get inspired and you get on the phone and you prospect. You call FSBO and you go over there and you get the listing. You give yourself a dot. I'm telling you, this is fun. And then I wanted another dot. So you get another dot. And then another. What happens is you get motivated to get dots. It's called gamification. It's a psychology thing. I'm telling you, my Power Agents have been doing this since I taught it to them 20, 30 years ago. They love the dot board because it gamifies your business. It does something else as well, gang. If let's say you look at this dot board, this is your dot board. And let's say it's March. Now, if this is your dot board and this is March, the second week in March, what would you do if this was your dot board? I know what I would do. I'd say, oh, gee, I fell asleep in February, man. I better get back I got to get some dots. I got to focus. I got to shake the trees. So the dot board motivates you. It helps you stay focused. I know one of our Power Agents, Mary Bundeck, this is an old picture of her dot board from last year. Mary, I got to get an updated dot board of yours because you sent this to me in June. I know you worked in July, August, or September. I know you had dots. This is an old picture. But look at this. Now, Mary, she added a column. She added the closings over to the side. But the real version, my original version, is just those first 3 columns. And you can write the name of the deal. It helps you stay focused, gang. I'm telling you, it's a huge thing. Now, here's another time management thing that you may want to do is look at marketing and break it up into quarters as far as self-promotion. We're going to talk about this. This isn't just another chart. One of the things I'm going to teach you is some self-promotion ideas, but I want to talk about the chart. That's what I'm teaching right now. It's not self-promotion chart, time management. So if you just wrote, okay, what are the 1 or 2 or 3 things that I want to do in promoting my business in the first quarter, second. So gang, the point here is hanging up some charts that help you stay focused. Let's now go to prospecting. And when it comes to prospecting, this skill, this category for you this year. So we just talked about time management. That's the first. Let's now talk about prospecting. What you need to do in prospecting, my suggestions is have 2 commitments. One commitment is to activity. Some of us we put too much stress on our goals. We look at our bank account, we're not happy. Prospecting is when you focus on the activity, not the result. See, the result is the result. You can't control the result. You can't control. The universe is going to do what it's going to do. What you can control is your activities, right? So look at it this way. Let's say you were a farmer and you go out into the fields and you start planting the seeds. That's your activity. That's your job as a farmer, is to plant the seeds. Then you water it, then you cultivate it, then you till it, then you fertilize it, and eventually you produce a return for the activities that you invested. If you invest the activity, the crops will show up. If you prospect, the listings will show up. But you have to do your part. Now, you don't have control over everything. It could be a drought. It could be a storm that kills. So that's why the results, we do our part, but the results are the results. One of the things I'm going to suggest that you do to help you with your activities is to do something like this. Now, Power Agents, we created this for you. It's in the prospecting portion of the website. And you'll notice on the left, like it'll have call 5 past clients, send out 50 letters, call 5 FISBO, blah, blah, blah. So you have prospecting activities. And then the game is you go like, all right, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, across the top. And you say, all right, what can I do today? Today's Sunday. What can I do that's on the left side? All right, let me call some houses for rent. Great. Let me do some smile stops. Stop. I'll teach you later. Call some or old friends. So you check it off, and the game is the more you check off, the more seeds you're planting for your farm. You know, there's no right way of prospecting. One of our Power Agents, Dennis Wheeler, he said, "I'm loving the Power Agent membership. I appreciate you don't have a set of prospecting methodologies, but allow members to pick the method that matches their personality traits." Right. So I don't care what you do, as long as you do it. Prospecting is like a diet. I use this analogy all the time because I know a lot about diets. I've tried them all. Anyway, the diet that works is the one you're willing to do consistently. And the same is true about prospecting. Okay, now my favorites, I'm going to show you my favorites. And if it works for you, the reason why I got a tire wheel thing on the screen right now is because spokes in a wheel. The more spokes you have, the stronger the wheel is. You can't ride a bicycle with only one spoke. Now, you can have too many spokes. It's a point of diminishing return. More spokes, the heavier wheel, less aerodynamic, it's not as good. So there's a balance. So I'm going to give you, I think, 5 good prospecting ideas. FISBOs, what I love about FIT. Now, hang on, the do not call list people. I'll straighten you out in a minute, and especially you New Yorkers, you got it all wrong, so hang on. As a fellow New Yorker, I'm going to help you. You got FISBOs, you got expireds. To me, these are the 2 best. Why? What do we know about these 2? They want to what? Sell. There's no needles in a haystack over here. It's all needles. They're all, if you got 10 FISBOs, guess what? There's 10 great quality leads. You got 10 expired. This is awesome. There's others that I'll teach, but this is now business. Now let's address, can you call a FISBO or an expired that's on the do not call list? Now, let me tell you something. Of all my colleagues, other speakers and trainers, they have their niches, right? I'm not going to go through them all and who they are, what their niches are. Let me tell you my niche. My niche is FISBOs and expired. So I'm telling you this because everything I tell you now, I know what I'm talking about because this is my specialty. Okay? Now, first of all, I do want to just say this. Just to validate, because I'm talking like some of you you've never seen me live. So let me just tell you, one of the training courses we have once a year, we skipped because of the pandemic. We may be doing it during the summer here. But every January, I had this thing called the Inventory Intensive, where I would teach agents how to build listing inventory, full day. And one of the things I would do is on the stage is I would call FISBOs live. And I plug my iPhone through the speaker so everybody would hear both sides, the FISBO and me. So I don't think I'm calling like my friend or something. Anyway, so my batting average is with the dialogue we teach our students. If I call 4 FISBOs, I get 3 appointments. Now our Power Agent average is about 2 or 3 out of 4 calls, right? So I'm really good at this. And I'm going to just do a disclaimer now. and that is I'm not giving you legal advice. You got to do whatever your broker tells you to do. But here we go. Okay, first of all, power agents, I recorded a 7-minute video just to answer this question about the do not call list. And it's in the prospecting tab. So that way you can show your broker. I explain it in greater detail that I'm going to cover now. And now I'm just going to do a short version of it. So first of all, everything that I'm telling you is directly from the Federal Trade Commission. If any, like how many of you actually read it? So I've read it. My attorneys read it. And this is why I can tell you with all confidence what I'm saying is accurate. Now, our associations may be giving out different information because our association is a political organization and they have to be politically correct, whereas I don't have to. So I'm going to give you the real deal on this. First of all, you can call FSBOs because they are the opposite of unsolicited calls, because a FSBO is actually soliciting. So the homeowner is actually publishing their phone number in some vehicle saying, hey, I'm selling my house, call me. The do not call list is in regards to unsolicited calls. FSBOs are the total opposite of unsolicited. Now, if a FSBO ever says in their ad, no agents, well, a lot of us practice buyer agency. When we are representing buyers, it's almost like we have a power of attorney. So they've hired us to represent them. So that kind of makes the exception there as well. Lastly, is that solicitation, the whole definition of solicitation is asking for something from somebody that you're calling, like selling magazine subscriptions or selling stocks on the telephone, where you're asking for their credit card routing. Like solicitation is sales. There's a transaction. There's no transaction when we're calling FSBOs and expireds. And yes, New Yorkers, everything I just said is even true in a state of emergency. So New Yorkers, you absolutely can call. Now, once again, if your broker says don't, you listen to your broker and ignore me. Just to finish up on this, on the expireds, the do not call list is very clear. If you have a prior relationship, you can call somebody on the do not call list. And with an expired, we do have a prior relationship through the MLS system. Again, you're not soliciting money from the homeowner, so that's another exception. I want to show you a video right now because I want you to get excited about calling FSBOs and why this is so important to you to get you listed. Listen, gang, some of us, we need to have a breakthrough in our listings, and it gets me a little upset for you that people are impeding your performance to earn a living and to help homeowners that need help. So I'm telling you, this is good. Let me share with you one of our power agents. I want you to listen to Julie Locke right now, because I want you to get excited here.
Good morning, Darryl. Good morning, everybody. I am doing this testimonial for you, Darryl, to show you how your program has helped me. So I did subscribe to RedX, and I went ahead and I got the single dialer. So one day I am dialing for sale by owners, which is not my favorite. Dialing for sale by owners, and I'm multitasking, so I'm not really looking to see following. And I look up and I see that the dialer is dialing a for sale by owner for land, which is not something that is really that I do, that have experience with, but basically residential homes. So anyway, just as I'm about to move on to the next number, the seller answers. I have a nice conversation with him. He says, I said to him, have you thought about listing it with an agent? He said, I just put it on for sale by owner, and I want to give it some time, maybe a month. I said, okay, so hold on to my information, and if things don't work out, I hope it all works out for you. But if it doesn't, I'm happy to help you. So pushing forward, he calls me 1 week later. I list the land for sale. I ended up getting it under contract, and I got both ends, which was the first time in my whole career since 2007. I got both ends. I asked them what their plan was. They said they were going to be buying a house on the water. I ended up helping them buy a house on the water. And then the buyer of the land calls me up and says that he wants to sell it. So basically, from one call that I really didn't want, which was vacant land for sale by owner, I sold the land for $150,000. I got both ends. I helped the sellers of the land buy a house for $700,000. And then I relisted the land for the buyer of the land for $185,000. So thank you very much, Darryl.
So from one phone call That's how much business she generated. Please, gang, FSBOs, expireds is now business. Some of you need some now business. Otherwise, you won't have a future. I encourage you to look at that. Now, there are other options. There's houses for rent. I love houses for rent because a lot of these homeowners, these part-time investors, if they can sell it, make a profit, they'd be happy. There's also our past clients. And then there's orphans. Orphans are people who bought or sold through your company, and that agent is no longer working in the company. And therefore, there's you can adopt them as a past client, and there's a whole set of dialogue, and you can send them a letter. But these are the 5 best sources that you can generate listings right now. So you've got number 1 is commit to the activity, and the second thing is a schedule. Now, a schedule is powerful because some of you that do like to work out, we've already covered that's not my thing, but those of you that like to work out, you don't fit your working out into your life. No, you fit your life into the working out schedule, right? That comes, you work your whole, you wanted, like you go to the gym, you want to go to the prospecting gym. Same thing. So commit to the activity and commit to the schedule. Power agents, I want to talk to you for a second. There is a plethora of dialogue for calling the house for rent, for calling the orphans, past clients, It's in the prospecting tab of the Power Program. And for the guests, I just want to tell you, if you're going to get emailed, if you decide you want to do the thing for $5, you'll get all the dialogue, the FSBO, the expired dialogue, the 12 best dialogues. All right, now let's talk about the listing appointment. The listing appointment, this is the third skill set. To get good at this, here's the 2 tips. Number 1, is you want to have a structured conversation. As I told you, gang, I am not going through deep on this stuff. I'm going wide. So a structured conversation, when you ring the doorbell, I always look at a listing appointment like a dance, and we expect power agents to be authentic and real and talk from their hearts, not their heads, but it's still a structured dance. So the R stands for the rapport, and that's 50% of the listing right there. That because if people like you, that you got a good shot. Doesn't matter your production, your top agent, not new age, doesn't matter. They got to like you. Then you want to engage them. How you engage them by asking questions. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You need to communicate that proportion. The listing happens in the listening. By the way, I'm probably 75% there getting the listing just from those first 2 steps. The third is then I'm going to give them advice based on what they're committed to, where they're moving, their next level. I'm going to coach them as how I can help them get to their next level by hiring me and taking the marketing and using the marketing tools that I use. And then last is I'm going to list and leave and get the heck out of there before they change their minds. So that is the overview of the listing appointment. So you should have a structure. Now, I do want to say this. What's real key on a listing appointment is validating your value. You've got to communicate your value. You never answer objection until the objection of how much commission do you charge until you first, the objection is it costs too much. So how you avoid that objection, or before you answer the question, how much is your commission? You need to establish your value. So one of the things that I recommend that you do is you sit down and write out all the things that you do for a homeowner. Let me go back to this. Sit down and think about all the things that you do when a homeowner hires you. What do you do for them? And if you guys sit down and do that, you probably will be shocked as to how much you do for the little that we charge. You know, when we did that, we actually sat down and we wrote out, what does a listing agent do for a homeowner? And it came out to like 104 things. And of course, we put it into a guide. You can use it on a listing appointment, use it as a mailing piece. But I tell agents, if nothing else, you should just read the darn 184 before you go into a listing appointment. Probably motivates you, gets you excited to have that listing conversation and ask what you do, ask for the commission that you do ask. So number 1 tip is have a structured conversation. The second thing is using metaphors and analogies. Now, if you are a new power agent or you're a guest today, my experienced power agents know this, that how you can do a listing appointment without memorized scripts is using stories, metaphors, and analogies. Stories, metaphors, and analogies. Let me give you a for instance. But first, let me actually break the metaphors and analogies into categories, and then I'll demonstrate a couple. A listing, when you take a listing appointment, you can break it up into 2 categories where you would use your metaphors and analogies. One is handling homeowners' objections. I have a friend in the business. The other broker said they'll do less commission. The other broker will take a short-term listing. Here, I don't need an agent. This market is so hot, I could sell it without an agent. Those are objections, and how you handle those objections is not memorize scripts or dialogues, but with metaphors and analogies. But in addition to that, when you are talking about your marketing tools, like when you talk about MLS, yard sign, lockbox, feature sheet, all of the things that you do when a homeowner hires you as their agent, you want to explain public open house, why that is so powerful, using a metaphor analogy, not facts. A lot of us will go on a listing appointment and we just explain the facts of what we do. That's telling, not selling. You need to really convey, when you use a metaphor analogy, you're not talking to people's heads, you're talking to their hearts. Let me give you some examples. Let's say when a homeowner says here, well, why should I hire you? What are you going to do different than what some other agent's going to do? And here's what you would say. You'd say, Mr. Ms. Hana, I understand your question. I respect that. It makes a lot of sense because when you think about it, we all pretty much do the same thing. You know, we have public open houses and we have brokers open houses. We have our MLS tools. We have our advertising. So what's different? I'll tell you. I want you to imagine, let's say you were going to have your house built. You weren't going to sell and you wanted to add an extension on and you needed some tools, right? So let's say one of the tools is a hammer. Now you can take that hammer and you can give it to a contractor who just started contracting, right? They don't have a team. They may not even be licensed or bonded. In other words, they don't have a lot of experience or whatever the case is. That hammer and that contractor is going to produce a particular result. Now, let's say you take the same hammer and you give it to another contractor who's been building extensions for years. They have a crew that they have hired, that they've been working with for years. They wrote the book on how to build an extension. They're licensed, they're bonded, they got testimonials. Here's my point. That same tool is going to produce two totally different results based on the person and how they use the tools. Mr. and Mrs. Hana, as your agent, I know how to use the tools of real estate to help get your house sold in today's hot market where you're going to net more money with less time, less aggravation. I really want the job to help you get to your next level and get you moved to Florida, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, gang, there's an example of using a metaphor to convey and handle that objection. And the power of metaphors is you probably can all, after this webinar, go use the hammer analogy and you didn't have to memorize a script. Here, let me show you another one. This is one of my favorite. Why should I pay you? Because of the market is so hot. I could sell it without an agent. You're right. This market is pretty hot. You know, there was another hot market. It was right after the bubble busted, you know, back in 2010, 11. So in New York City, the guy who created For Sale by Owner, the CEO, by the name of Kobe Sambrato, he listed, read this article, he listed his 2,000 square foot condominium on his own through classified ads and physical sites. But after 6 months, he hired a real estate agent and he hired the agent. He sold it for $150,000 more than his original asking price. And he paid a 6% commission. Now, here's the point you got to ask yourself, Mr. and Ms. Hana. If the guy that created ForSaleByOwner.com took his $2.1 million listing and gave it to an agent and paid a 6% commission as opposed to being a FSBO, maybe being a FSBO is not a good idea. And the reason why is because even in a hot market, the types of people that FSBOs attract are the same types of people that go to Craigslist. They're looking for a bargain. They're not, see, any buyer that comes into my office, they know they're paying top dollar because as a real estate agent, every house I show them, the buyer knows there's a commission in the price of the home. That's very important you get. But the buyers that come to me, they don't care about trying to get a deal like a Craigslist buyer. They're trying to get the best home for the best from a company they can trust. I attract different buyers than the For Sale by Owner. That's why Kobe Sambrato couldn't sell his home and save the commission. And that's why you need to hire an agent. See, here's something else, too. On every home, there's two different selling prices. There's the For Sale by Owner price and the realtor price. And the reason why they're different is because you as a homeowner trying to do it on your own, your marketing is limited. Whereas when you hire my company, it's like we have all of this other strategies, like going fishing. We're throwing out a net into the ocean, bringing all these buyers on board. Anyway, metaphors and analogies, gang. Let me share with you one last one. This is one of my favorites about, well, I don't need an agent. I've sold stuff before. Or my attorney will help me for the New Yorkers, because that's a common one we get. You know, if you look at a Broadway show, all of these people involved in producing this show is behind the scenes. Like you've got, if I'm looking at this, you've got the well, of course, you got the actors, you got set design, lighting design, costume, makeup, choreography, and every day in rehearsal, everybody talks to one person in the rehearsal. And who is that? The directors. The director's the glue that keeps the show together. In a real estate transaction, Mr. and Mrs. Honey, you have the same thing. So you've got you as the homeowner, and then you've got the buyers, and then you've got the appraiser and the engineer, and you said you have an attorney. That's why you don't need an agent, because they're going to do it for you. And let's say the buyers have one too. And then you've got the title company and the home inspector and the bank rep. Here's what's interesting. Mr. and Miss Hana, you as the homeowner would only talk to your attorney and to the buyer when you're a FSBO. But you would never talk to the home inspector. You would never talk to the bank. You would never talk to the buyer's attorney. And of course, you think, well, I don't have to because my attorney will do that. Well, your attorney, yes, will talk to the buyer's attorney and to you, but they don't talk to the buyers. They don't talk to the appraiser. They don't talk to the home. You got all these people not talking to one another. And the scary thing is only one of them, any one of them has the power to kill the transaction. There's only one person that everybody talks to in a real estate transaction. That's me, the real estate agent. You trying to sell a house without an agent is like trying to put a show together without a director. It's going to bomb. Listen, if selling a house is as simple as putting a sign out on the lawn, you wouldn't have to be licensed by the state. So there must be more behind the curtains that you're not aware of that goes into producing this end result. Anyway, gang, there's an example of another metaphor analogy. For the guests, I want to tell you, when you sign up, if you decide to do it at the end, you're going to get all of those metaphors and analogies, and you're going to get a slide deck on all of those slides and more, 100 slides actually. And Power Agents, those you have in the listing chapter of the Power Program site. Let's continue on. I've got a lot going. Julie, how are we doing here? There's a lot covered here.
You are covering a lot.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
All right, let's talk about servicing listings, gang. When it comes to servicing listings, hot market or not, one of the most important things is communication. So let me give you some examples on how you can communicate with your homeowners before, during, and the listing agreement. One of the things that you may want to do is communicate with them about staging, right? Because some homeowners, God bless them, but when you ring the doorbell, it goes woof, woof, right? So it needs a little elbow grease, a little love, little help. So sitting down with them and explaining to them, this is how powerful and how important staging is, right? So having a flyer like that, Power Agents, everything I'm showing you is in the servicing chapter of the Power Program website. The listing management checklist. So for those of you that are growing your business, you got to think like a business person. Servicing your seller, you should checklist everything out. If you haven't hired an assistant, one of the things you can do if you're ready to hire an assistant is to give them the task of creating systems and checklists. Have them shadow you, watch you when you tell them, listen, when we get a new listing, this is what we have to do. Please write it down. So don't have the assistant just do the tasks. When you get a listing and you're telling them, all right, I need you to do this, this, and this, you need to tell them, please go write that down. Now I'm going to teach something powerful extra here. If you're hiring an assistant for the first time and you tell the assistant, okay, do this, this, and this with the listing, and tell them, write it down in a Word document. If that assistant doesn't work out, which is possible when you hire your first assistant, they're helping you create your systems and checklists for the next assistant, right? So if nothing else, there'll be tremendous value in that. There's also public open house checklists as an example. One of the things, let me cover with you a few things right now if you have a stalled listing. Now, in this hot market, this is really not a big issue. Most of our listings are selling, but just to get it into the books for you, to get it recorded, because I'm going to show you all how to get a copy of this recording later on. First of all, if you've got a listing that's stale, it's been sitting too long, even in a hot market, some of you have these. You know, one of the things you can do is just lower the price, but it's got to be a big price adjustment, not like $2,000 or $5,000. Sometimes it's got to be like, oh, wow. Second is above average commission. So if you've got a listing that's sitting, it's stalling, have a conversation with the homeowner about upping the brokerage fee, even if it's to the selling brokers. And you as a listing agent, you stay at your agreement, but just pay out more to motivate other agents. Making improvements to the house. Now, I'm going to tell you, we found this company we're very passionate about called Curbio. They're not in all parts of the country, but look them up. Power Agents, we have a deal with Curbio for you that you get some discounts and bonuses. But everybody, the guests, if you just look up Curbio, Actually, let me show you this. We actually did a webinar with them on the value of what they do. And so let me just give you the Reader's Digest version. What they do, Curbio, is if you've got a listing that needs some elbow grease, needs some repairs, it needs room needs to be painted, doors need to be fixed, screens need to be replaced, windows need to be fixed. They'll do the work, and the homeowner pays $0. What they do is they get paid at closing. So they'll tell you what the repairs are going to be, so the homeowner knows going into it. I think this is an incredible tool if you've got those listings that are stall, especially, and they need that elbow grease. Power Agents, we actually created a 2-page thing for you on how to jumpstart a stall listing. That's also in the servicing. Okay, let's jump to technology. So here's a couple of tips for this year to double your income when it comes to technology. First thing I want to talk to the tech challenge people is don't be overwhelmed, okay? So I'm not going to go deep on technology topic right now. I'm going to give you a few things, but one of the tips I have is if you're not tech savvy or you're getting stressed about a particular tech, try not to get overwhelmed. All right, take it. You're not a stupid person, is my point. You'll learn it. You'll get it. It'll just take some time. And the other thing is maybe just pick one tech and get good at it right now. Okay, so what we can get overwhelmed is we think, oh, I've got my email system and I've got to get a website and I got social media and I don't know, and I got my Facebook and I got LinkedIn. I'm hearing about TikTok. And so we get super overwhelmed. And when you get overwhelmed, you don't do anything, right? So just pick one thing. Remember, the game here is let's improve in each one of these areas: prospecting, listing appointment, technology. Let's just improve 10%, right? You do that 12 months, it's 120. That's how you double your income. So the tech, let me give you some suggestions. So one of the techs that we're really we love here at Power Headquarters is RPR. We love it for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's free. If you're a realtor, it's free. That's number one. Number two, it is the best CRM software of any software. So there's a lot of CRM, CMAs. I said CRM. CMAs. There's a lot of CMA software companies out there where you can pay a subscription to have a CMA software. If you're a realtor, don't do that because you've got this and it's free. And it does so much. I mean, it can go into demographics. It can go into the school system, price changes. It's really, I am so blown away by RPR. And if you are a neophyte when it comes to technology and learning this, you can adapt to it very quickly. But you can go down a rabbit hole and get really tech with this because it does so much. And so you can grow with your knowledge with it is the point. Also, if you're not tech savvy, you need, though, in this business, you need to have a video conferencing platform and get comfortable with it. A lot of your boards during the pandemic, when it first started, they were going online. You need to get tech savvy with video conferencing because also in listing appointments, it's a really useful tool. Some of our Power Agents, even now, they're still doing listing appointments. New Yorkers, some of you are not vaccinated. You can't go into a homeowner's house. This is an example. So now for the Power Agents, I do want to say to them, there's a tech tools and training section of the Power Program website for you that it goes through a lot of these things like how to use PowerPoint, how to use Zoom. So we've created and these are not advanced trainings because we're not a tech training company. So we just did some basic stuff to get Power Agents to a level where they can function in real estate. There's also Power Builder. This is a tool that we have, but it doesn't matter ours. Here's the point that I'm teaching, and that is a CRM. It's really, if you do not have a CRM, I don't care of all the tech lists, like if you were to write down all the tech tools that you want to learn, CRM has to be at the top. A CRM will help you automate your business. It'll keep track of your clients. Now, our CRM actually has social media posting where you can post every day automatically to Facebook, to your Facebook account, to LinkedIn, etc., which that's a bonus, and it's just incredible. Polls from CNN and Better Homes and Gardens and HGTV magazine, Homes magazine. Anyway, so But most CRMs, they'll have a newsletter that will go out to your leads. There's a website that's tied to it that people will fill out. So make sure you're totally familiar with your CRM. Let's talk about working with buyers. We're on to that topic now. One of the things that you need to get good at with working with buyers is getting a buyer agency agreement. You want to get listing agreements, you want to get offers accepted, and you want to get buyer agency agreements. Again, just talking to the power agents for a minute. There's a whole hour just on this, but let me just pull some of the content from that class about this. When you meet a buyer for the first time, you want to have a conversation with them about how you work. You want to explain, you want to inform them about your skill and ability and who you are, because you're going to ask them to hire you in a minute. You're going to then ask them some questions about what they're trying to accomplish, what kind of house that they're looking for. Then together, you're going to select the houses that you're going to go look at. And then when you go look at those properties, you come, assuming we find the right house today, you're going to come back, go over the paperwork, and let them know you're committed to ongoing service. So my point here, gang, is when you meet a buyer for the first time, you need to go through the 6-step buying process, because it's in this conversation where you're going to ask them to hire you as their exclusive agent. How you do that is in step 1. Step 1 is where you're going to create the value, where you're going to talk about, I'll show you. You're going to talk about your credibility, any certificates that you have. Power agents, if you can talk about you being a power agent, which pushes you in a separate category, any awards that you have, education that you're continuing to take, achievements, etc. Then you're going to talk about your company, the bigness of your company, the mission statement, the production, the broker, and the history, market share. And then the last is giving them an update. Here's what's happening in the market. It's after you do this, gang, is when you're going to discuss buyer agency and why they should hire you. Now, one of the things that we created for our power agents is this flyer. And for some of you, you may not like it, but I love this, because if you want to tell people why they should hire you, you talk about the benefits. But if you want them to hire you now, talk about what they lose if they don't hire you. So, for example, this says, listen, if you don't hire me as a buyer's agent, that means then I default to being a seller's agent. And if I'm a seller's agent, I cannot advise you on the offer you should make when we find the home you like. I can't, in writing the offer, I can't negotiate in your best interest. I must do it what's best for the seller. I can't represent your best interest. My responsibility as a seller. I may not call you when there's a new listing comes on the market that meets your criteria, because I've got to first call the clients who did hire me. Anyway, this goes through like, listen, you want to hire me because you're going to lose out on all this stuff. So I love this. So anyway, that's just an example. The other thing too, what you might want to do when you meet with your buyers is to go through, here's what you will do for them. Here is your job description. Here's the 40 things. This is what we give our power agents, but even the guests, write down, like, here's what I will do for you, almost like an employee contract, spelling out all of the great benefits they're going to get. So working with buyers, the first thing you want to do is create that buyer, get them to hire you as a buyer's agent. And the second thing is you want to create a sense of urgency. I don't have to tell you guys, in this market, this is a hot market. And any buyer that sits on the fence, they may lose out. Think about all the buyers that could have bought last year and how they would have been so much better off and what they've missed out. So one of the things you want to do is sit down with your buyers and show them how your local MLS stats, how listings have gone, the value of homes have gone up in the past 12 months. And everything says they're going to continue to go up. Long term, real estate is still the best investment of anything. And for those of you that are getting the predictions, the 2022 predictions, this will help you to show a buyer, especially first-time buyers, why they should not be renting, why you should get into a house, and for the guests that you're going to get that as well. Okay, but part of what you'll do, let me show you some slides. You show them the stats about your market, your local market, compared last year to this year, and show them how they're missing out, how they need to get in, because this is going to happen again next year. We don't want them to miss out. Here's another thing that you can do is explain to them, if you were to look at the current interest rates just as an example. Now, this chart that I'm going to show you goes all the way up. But on a $350,000 mortgage at 3%, that's the payment, $1,476. Now, watch what happens when the interest rate goes up by 1%. Not only do you lose $25,000 on the price of the home that you could buy, but the payments still go up almost $100. If I go to 5%, it's another 25 grand and another almost $100. So the point here is, as these interest rates go up, the buyers are getting less. They're either going to be paying more or they're paying less. Their category of home goes down. So you want to really convey, when you meet a buyer for the first time, this should be part of your conversation before you start showing the houses. So that way they're motivated. Let me give you another example. Here is the 30-year interest rate mortgage, right? If you look since the 70s, look what happened since the 80s, how they've gone down. Yes? But I want to show you this little bottom here. It looks like we've hit a floor. We've hit a floor. Now, let me go to this. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit. And what you'll notice, there's the floor. It was going down, and now this starts to show a trend line up. You want to show this to a buyer that, listen, I don't think the rates are going down. We're starting to tick up. You better this is the time for you to buy. And look at how prices keep going up year over year, percentage change in the median price. Also, it's going up. There's a trend line. Let me show you something else. By the way, you show this to buyers, gang, before you start showing them houses so they get motivated and excited, because you want them to get into your car committed to buying a house today. So you want that motivation. Let me see here. This is for renters. There was a study done by Harvard and who else did this? Duke University, Fannie Mae. They found that kids that live in a house that's owned versus a rental, they have less behavioral problems. They have better English grades, better math grades, higher percentage chance of going to continuing education, college, for example, better health, etc. So one of the things you may want to show a buyer that has children and they're renting is not only you're buying a house for yourself, but you're buying it for your kids. Everything points to that children who live in a home that's owned, they actually perform better in life. Let's talk about negotiating. Boy, we're going to go a little fast here because I have so many more slides, but I hope you guys will learn anything. By the way, if you're learning anything, do me a favor, write it in the chat. We're coming to the end, but I'm curious what you've learned today. There's two approaches to getting your offers accepted. Number one is building a relationship with that listing agent, like getting really tight with them. And then there's also presenting your own offers. Now, again, we're going wide. I can't go deep on this topic, but I want you guys to learn how to do that when you can. When you're given the ability to present your own offers, and we spent a whole hour on this topic in one of our trainings, is you've got a better chance of beating out in a multiple offer situation. How you can present it real quick is your MLS probably states that agents has the right to be present. You can add it to the offer, that this offer is contingent on you presenting it with the listing agent to the homeowner. And if the listing agent insists not letting you present the offer, get a statement from the homeowner saying that, hey, I know there's an offer, but I don't want to hear it, which is unlikely that's going to happen. So something else, a gift for everybody, is that if you decide to become a power agent, you're going to give you this e-guide that you can give to buyers and sellers in a multiple offer situation, how to win your offer. All right, let's talk about the negotiating skills, self-promotion skill set. Your commitment in self-promotion is to have people know your name, face, and what you do for a living. So what we did here is we created these quarterly sections on how you can promote yourself. And so I want you to think in each quarter, what are a couple of things you could do to promote yourself? For example, I'm going to jump to my favorite, which was this past quarter, and that's the trunk or treat. The whole concept of trunk or treat is where the neighbors get together in a parking lot and they decorate their trunk and the kids go from car to car, and it could be such a great community event. And when you look at this, it's so much fun. It's like shooting fish in a barrel because you've got your whole farm area in a parking lot participating in this neighborhood event. And so what we did, because we love this idea so much, we actually gave the power agents a kit on how to do these trunk or treat events. This is an example of something you can do in the fourth quarter. Now, we also thought, well, what if we actually just created a party planning guide for power agents that in any quarter, if you wanted to do an event, you could. So we actually upgraded and we came up with, listen, if you wanted to do something, for example, New Year, well, we're already past that, Valentine, Easter egg hunt, outdoor movie night, summer fun, Olympics, carnival. Another thing that you may want to consider doing is planning out your self-promotion campaign this year. And there's an example on how you would do that. Have your activities on the left and the months at the top. Let's talk about farming, and we're going to be coming to the end here with what we're sharing. You want to be financially ready when it comes to farming because it takes time and money. And the other thing is you want to be consistent. Now, one of the suggestions I have is getting your mailing list. There's a couple of different options. You've got Cold Directory is a good company. You've got RedX. RedX has this thing called Geo Leads, which is you can type in an address. They give you all the homes around that neighborhood, and then you can download it as an Excel file. One of our power agents said the amount of information Darryl gives us is amazing. You're never at a loss. So for power agents, I want to tell you, in the classroom under farming, there's a tremendous amount. When you click there, there's so much that you can send out to your farm area. And by the way, power agents, next Thursday on January 20th, we're now launching an added benefit for you guys, which is the Power Agent Print Portal, where you can take this stuff and actually buy the mailing list there. You can mail it out. And we're not increasing the price for power agents. We're just increasing the value for you guys as well. We are going to increase the price eventually, but not for current power agents. Also, referral business. One of our power agents, Annette Mean, I referenced her earlier, she's one of the top agents in the country, top 0.5% of all agents. And let me share with you some things that I know Annette does and she's real proud of. And that is sending out a letter to all the past clients, giving them a copy of their HUD form. They're going to need it for their taxes, recommending other professionals, whether it's an accountant or attorneys. So giving gifts and giving value to your past clients. I referenced earlier something called Smile Stops. What a Smile Stop is, you're stopping by a past client, you're giving them a gift, whether it's a ruler or a cake or something that's tied to the holidays or to the time of year. So I'll give you, for instance, coming up with February, we've got National Pizza Day. You could drop off pizza to some of your past clients. Valentine's Day, of course, with a heart of candy saying you and your referrals and your friends are the heart of my business. Thank you for being such a great client. So anyway, there's all these ideas on how to get in touch with your past clients. Power agents, if you type in the word Smile Stops in the classroom, you will find all of those ideas there for you. Okay, I went over a few minutes, Julie, but we're going to give the guests and everybody on the call a special. So, and then we're going to open up to questions. So we're going to stay on this call until everybody's questions are answered. So stay right there. If you're a guest, here's the gift that we're going to give you guys if you're interested. Is if you decide to become a power agent just for the $5, you'll have complete access to the entire site. You can cancel anytime. And the bonuses you get to keep. Just to give her the Reader's Digest version of the program, every Monday, these are live coaching calls that you can ask me questions. It's not like this webinar. I can actually hear you. I can talk to you and coach you. And it's a group call and it's recorded that you can listen to later on. In addition, all of these training sessions that we have, like this one, is recorded and we post it on the Power Program website so you can watch at your own pace. You can rewind it. You can download the slides. You get a copy of the slides as well. There is a closed Facebook group, which is incredible, the amount of support that power agents have for other people. The dedicated website, which you've heard me reference a few times, just to give you an idea of what some screenshots. This is the dashboard. The magic happens in the classroom. When you click on the classroom, it brings you to these areas of real estate. And so let's say, for example, you wanted to improve your farming and self-promotion. You click on there. There is a plethora of flyers and promotional material, checklists, and systems you can use for farming. And all of our stuff you can customize and edit as well, which is really, and you don't have to learn a new software to do that. There is a favorite tab because we have over 600 pieces on the site for you that you can tag in and say, I love this. I'm going to put it in my own separate folder. We actually have a similar Google search technology where if you type in the word FSBO on the site, like I said to the power agents a moment ago, to search for smile stops, and then you'll find everything that is one of those customized gifts to drop up. But if you type in FSBO, then all of a sudden all the FSBO stuff shows up, whether it's dialogue, whether it's training, whether it's whatever. Julie, if you can mute your mic until I finish here. So there's an example of the for rent by owners. Now, with that said, if you decide to sign up for this $5, here's what you guys get to keep for the guests. And power agents, if you want to tell the guests what you like about the program, we actually record these chats, so it helps us as well. We like to see what power agents like. But there's a slide deck you're going to get, which is a PowerPoint slide deck, 103 slides you can customize to use on listing appointments, either in person or virtually, along with a recording on the metaphors and analogies to use on a listing appointment. The 3-part breakthrough business plan, which is incredible. I'm telling you, that's worth, I think, a lot more than just the $5. If you're a new agent or experienced agent that needs to restart your business, we have that for you as well, a guide on what you can do to kickstart your business. It's really great, and it's step 1, step 2, step 3. So that's really awesome if you need that. The 12 best dialogues, calling houses for rent, for sale by owners, FSBOs, expireds, etc. The 184 things that you do to earn a commission that validates you, that you can use on FSBO appointments, any appointment. But it's also good for yourself just to fall in love with what you do, reading it before you go in. There is the e-guide on that you give to buyers or to your sellers about how to deal with multiple offers. So this is something that you give your clients to help them with the emotional roller coaster involved with multiple offers. The 2022 predictions plus. If you're going to get a copy of the slides, you're going to get a copy of this webinar. And if you need a CRM, we have the Power Builder for you. That's separate, and you can get that for 30 days. All of the stuff on the screen is worth almost $2,000. But yes, you get to keep it for $5. So that's what we've got. So with that said, we're going to go to questions now. So if you have a question about anything I covered, about the Power Program or about the how to double your income in the next 12 months, what we've covered, just this is your time. We're going to stay on this until everybody's questions are answered. Power agents, if you have any comments, we'd love to hear your comments and just put those in the chat as well, or the Q&A, I mean. And with that said, Julie, what do we got? What are the questions?
Oh, I love, first, Tony just sent the HUD letter that you talked about out to his sales for 2021, and he got a 40% response rate.
Really? Awesome.
Good for you, Tony.
Tony, great job. Go ahead.
Janet wants to know, can we use the flyers as they are? Do we just brand them and use them?
Yeah, so let me show you the flyers. I'm going to go to the website really quick. So now the website usually gets really a little sluggish during these webinars because there's a lot of power agents that are on it. But I'll give you, for instance, let's say, oh, I love the Zillow advertising. I'm just going to pick this pet disaster one, which is because it's going to open up quick. It's not a heavy duty file. So let's say you're in a market where there's a lot of weather issues and you want to have a checklist. So what you can do is you can use the flyer just the way it is, just print it out. You can delete this over here, but let's say we missed something, right? I want you to see how I'm moving this? And let's say if I wanted to edit this because I didn't like what I wrote. So that's how customizable every piece is, down to the word, down to the period. And that's what, so you can use just what we have, or you can edit and customize it however you want. Okay. Next question, Julie.
Perfect. How do I sign up for RedX as a power agent?
So what you'll do is when you're logged into the account, when you go to dashboard, and you'll see this is like your dashboard. This is your portal. And if you go to Classroom, you will go, everything's alphabetical. So RedX is an R, right? So let me scroll down to the R. So there's prospecting, there's RedX. When I click on this, it'll bring me to the place where I can activate my membership with RedX, and you save over $500 as a power agent because you don't pay a setup. You don't pay the first 30 days. You don't commit long-term. You can try for 30 days and it costs you $0. Next question.
Can the flyers be in a format that can be emailed or embedded in newsletters?
Yeah, so if I go back to that flyer here, this is not a good example because it's a lot of checklists. But what I could do is I'm going to copy this, and let's pretend I'm going to open up Microsoft Word just to pretend that that's my email that I'm sending out. And let me just increase the size, and I'm going to paste now. I just pasted everything from the flyer that I just did, and I pasted it in a Word document. So what you could do is you could take any of these things that we have for you, and you can use them, recycle them. I could post this pet thing on social media if I wanted to. I could post it in a newsletter. That's just one form. This one form, I could do so much with it. And the Power Program has, if I go back to the Power Program, it has over 600 pieces that you can use that way. So I'm just going to go to the farming tab because that's where a lot of stuff is. There's a Halloween contest, the checklist. I mean, this is how much stuff that's in the site for you that you can customize. There's flyers, back to school. Well, we're already into school. Well, we're going back to school from some cities. Anyway, so next question, Julie.
Yes, Marilyn is a power agent in Arizona. How would she find other power agents in Arizona?
So what you would do is you would go to the classroom. So let me go back to that. And so if I go to directory right here, so it's alphabetical, right? Directory. I'm logged in as Sarah right now. So that's Sarah. But this is where you would go and you would look for, let's say, state. I would go to Arizona. These are all the power agents that we currently have in Arizona. And that's how you can start to network with them. Next question, Julie.
Fantastic. Where do I find the slides that have the mortgage rates that you just shared?
So that's going to be the mortgage rate one's going to be the buyers, right? Because that's something you would be showing buyers. And so if I go there and I'm going to search and look for the interest rates, which when I'm doing the webinar, sometimes I miss things because I'm scrolling too fast or, where is it? What it costs you? Here it is. What it costs you to wait. Yeah. So that's the flyer. I think this flyer looks a little different than the one I just showed, and it's opening up now. So give me a second, so that way I'll show you. And here it is. And there's the flyer right there.
I think you showed the current rate trend, and those would be in the slides from today's webinar.
Oh, okay. All right. If you want to know, yes. If you want to know, that's that one, which is, where am I?
Good, because we have lots of questions on how do I get the slides.
Yeah. So these slides are, when you sign up as a power agent, you'll get a copy of these slides now, and you can edit it. Like, let's say if you don't like what I just did here with this, here, watch, I just deleted the arrow. So everything I give you, you can edit it. You can take out, obviously, the trial link. There it is, bada bing. So when you sign up, we're going to email you the slides. Current power agents, you're going to get these slides. How do the current power? When we post it, here's the current power agents. When you go to Classroom, and give me a second, you're going to go to Webinars on Demand. So today's webinar, we need to wait till it processes, and by the end of the day, it'll be here. So for example, this was last week's webinar, the 3-part business plan, where I went through the entire business plan. So if I click on this, there's a copy of the slides. Download them here. So that's where you'll get those as well. Next question, Julie.
Perfect. 1 second. Is the power agent logo that we can use on promotional material, or do we just say the words power agent along with SRES, SRS? So where do we find the power agent logo? Yeah,
so there's if you go to Power Agent Purpose, which is again in the classroom, it's alphabetical. You will see there's a suggestion on how your email line signature should look. What is a power agent? The logo, it explains the logo. We actually have a power agent code of ethics, which I'm not going to get into teaching now, something we just launched. There's then you scroll past our super power agents of the month. We do that every a month. We started that in 2020 at some point. So, but here's the logos. You can download all the logos, so you get a good resolution. And only power agents can call them. We own the registered trademark. So if you're not a power agent, you can't use that. If you see somebody using it, you let us know, and they get a letter from our attorney and da-da-da-da. So kind of like how Realtor owns Realtor, so we own power agent. Next question.
So after 30-day trial, it's $47 a month. Are those the only costs?
That's it. That's it. You can cancel any time. There's no long-term contract. It's month to month.
Fantastic. Where would you find the motivational charts? Like the dot
The
board?
motivational charts, that's going to be in the time management. So anything that is a chart is going to be in time management. So if I go down to time management, and there you're going to find a lot of what we covered today plus some, right? So there's the easy business plan. There is the quarterly calendar for self-promotion. There's the monthly calendars with suggestions. There's the activity chart for prospecting, the skills to improve, which is a different looking version of what I just did that I had at the beginning of this, but it's still the same content, and et cetera, et cetera. So daily suggestion, what you can do, some other motivational things to hang up as well.
Fantastic.
Where's the dot board? There's the dot board, by the way. Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
We love the dot board. And a lot of people will take that and they'll blow it up and put it on a phone board like Mary did. And
Yep.
Mary actually just put her dot board from 2021 in the Facebook group. So thank you, Mary.
Good, Mary. Thank you.
I love it. Any plans on getting this approved for continuing education towards license renewal?
Rashid. Yeah, we're every state. We'd have to apply to every state, and so we're not a CE company. We're an MONEY company. so your designations, you're making MONEY.
That's funny. What time for the coaching calls, and where do we find them?
The coaching calls, they start at 11 o'clock.
Eastern
time. And if you go to classroom coaching calls, two things will happen. First of all, it'll give you the time and date of the Monday calls. You can download it into your calendar. Plus, we record the calls. You can listen to them later. And if you have a question, you can email in advance. If you can't be on the call, I'll still coach you on the question that you had, and you can listen to it later.
Fantastic. If I was a past power agent, how do I rejoin?
Yeah, the best thing to do if you're a past power agent is you would have to send this message here, which, by the way, I'm really proud of our team and this chat thing that we have, because here's how it works. When you say send us a message, and when you type a message, what happens is, so if I type that out, what happens if when I hit it, everybody in the company, their computers go bling, and like a doorbell. And the team looks at the question and they figure out who's the best person to respond to your question. And that's the person that takes over the conversation, and they take care of you. So if you type in there, say I'm a past power agent and I want to rejoin, that'll go out to the entire team. I know you'll hear from Gail because that's who handles that. And we'll reactivate your account.
Fantastic.
And yes, Edith, the coaching calls are 11 a.m. Eastern time, and they go for, now they don't go an hour, they go 2 hours, but this last one that we just did almost went 3 hours. So
it was a marathon call.
It was a marathon call, exactly. I'm still
and you
tired.
also do a synopsis in your Tuesday newsletters. You'll get a synopsis of what was covered each week, so you can say, "Oh, yes, that's what I want to hear." So,
yes, great. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right. So if you guys have any other questions about not just the program, but what we covered today, please let us know before we end this call. And with that said, though, if I don't see any other questions that come in about what we covered today, I want to just show you one thing. Hang on one second. A little teaching moment for you, because I know I covered a lot today and it can be overwhelming. So I just want to go to this. So here's what I covered today. What I covered today was I gave you a couple of suggestions in time management, a couple in prospecting, listing appointment servicing, some technology, buyers, negotiating, farming, self-promotion, referral business. So what I covered was a lot of stuff, a little bit in each one of those areas. The idea here today, gang, is if you just improve your business 10% a month, that's 120% a year. You heard me say that a couple of times today. So just look at your business like these slides and say, where can I improve in each one of those areas? And let me just implement one thing. Let me just get a little bit better on the listing appointment using metaphors and analogies. Let me get better working with buyers and getting buyer agency agreement. Let me get better at creating urgency and showing the buyers why now is a good time to buy, and self-promotion, etc. So the idea for today's webinar was just to give you the skeleton, if you will, of here's what we should be looking at and things to work on. And now we want to start implementing them. So I hope you decide to become a power agent, because if you're a power agent, I'll be helping you this year and my team to implement all of this, to help you get to your next level, to help you have less stress and more fun in your life and design a career worth smiling about. Our commitment to you is to have your life work and financially and emotionally, and you will be in partnership with you. You will not be alone. So I invite you to make the $5 investment, which is probably less than a Starbucks cup of coffee for some of us, and see if this is a company that'll help you get to your next level in your business. I think it will be. Okay.
Less than a latte.
Less than a latte. So I want to thank everybody again for coming today. Please click on that thing, because as soon as I say goodbye, that little floating thing is going to go away. So click on it now. And that's it. I'll look forward to seeing you guys on our next webinar. Monday is our coaching call, Power Agents. I'll see you then. Stay safe, stay focused, and don't forget to keep smiling. Bye, everybody.